Library of Heaven's Path. Chapter 12. Emperor Bloodline. An hour later, Zhang Xuan walks out from the logistics branch and his eyes twinkle in excitement. If it had been his previous self, he would have ended up being taken advantage of today. However, with the Library of Heaven's Path, his life took a complete turn towards another direction. Perhaps, it is a blessing for me to transcend over. This kind of exciting life is what I hope for. Zhang Xuan clenches his fist and exhales a breath of air. In his previous life, he was only a librarian living a plain and simple life that only rotates around the library in his home. Even if he were to continue on like that, he would only continue claiming his salary and continue with his aimless life. However, things are different here. With a great gift package known as the Library of Heaven's Path, perhaps he would be able to walk further and become stronger. He would be able to live an entirely new and exciting life. At this moment, Zhang Xuan has finally become a part of the world. He no longer struggles in his heart over the dilemma between his homeland and this world. Don't pull me. Let me die, I want to die. Just when he is secretly celebrating, he hears a piercing wail from a distance not too far away. It sounds like a frenzied bull, causing one's heart to tear in agony. Turning around, he sees a fatty howling that he would charge towards the man-made lake in the academy and commit suicide by jumping into it. Behind the fatty, no one tries to stop him. The fatty himself also doesn't charge forward despite howling non-stop. Suddenly, he turns around and grabs the palm of a student beside him and puts it on himself, making it seem as though the student is pulling him back. Then, he continues howling. Don't pull me, let me die. I don't want to live anymore. Quote. Everyone is speechless. That's too shameless. Zhang Xuan shakes his head. This fatty, despite not wanting to die, insists on portraying a fake image of someone restraining himself from committing suicide. He is really shameless. Knowing that this fellow can't possibly die, he can't be bothered with him anymore. Instead, he walks towards his own classroom. Before he could walk far, the howling voice seems to close in on him as the ground tremors. Following which, a pair of thick arms hugs his leg. Teacher, I'm begging you, please accept me as your disciple. They all scorn me because of my size and reject me. The fatty bursts into tears. Let go. Zhang Xuan is speechless. Isn't this fellow too eccentric? Rushing over to beg him to accept him as his disciple upon seeing that he is a teacher, Zhang Xuan has never seen such a person in his life. Teacher, I will only let go if you accept me. Tears and snot flow freely from the multiple faucets of the fatty. His voice sounds so sorrowful that even those who are watching from the side start to sympathize with him. Today, I have already visited over 10 teachers, but none of them were willing to accept me. This teacher over here, seeing how pitiful I am, please accept me. The examinations among the students would also affect a teacher's evaluation. A plump person like him would tend to have trouble in his battles and his agility. Most renowned teachers would be unwilling to accept him. If you want me to accept you, you would have to at least show me your abilities. What do you expect to achieve by hugging my leg? Zhang Xuan says. He possesses the Library of Heaven's Path, so he should have no trouble recruiting students. If this person turns out to be mediocre, Zhang Xuan would not accept him as his disciple. Teacher, you have to accept me as your disciple. I am quite capable. The fatty looks up hesitantly before slowly loosening his arms. We have to see before we know whether you are capable or not. There is no use saying so much. Seeing how he is still slightly reluctant to release his grip, Zhang Xuan kicks him away scornfully. What is this? It would be one thing for a female student hugging his leg. However, not only is he a male, he is also a fatty. He shivers just by the thought of it. Fine. Look at my abilities. The fatty doesn't feel scorned. He stands up and surveys the surrounding. Then, he carries a few concrete blocks over from a short distance away. After which, lifting one up with his hands, he smashes his head into it. Pung! The concrete block shatters. After which, he carries a few more concrete block and shatters it using his elbow and leg. Without an exception, they all shatter. This fellow may seem plump, but he is skilled in Henglian martial arts. Ignoring his Henglian, Zhang Xuan is currently looking through the book that is automatically compiled in his mind. The skills trained through Henglian can also be considered as a type of martial arts. The moment the fatty displays his prowess, the library began to compile his information. Yuan Dao, a wandering cultivator in Dawang City, Fighter 1 Dan Ju C Realm Intermediate. Ellipsis. Flaws. 18 aspects. Number 1. The ancient emperor bloodline in his body has yet to be activated. Number 2. His foundations are too weak, the martial arts he trains in. Emperor bloodline. Looking at the records on the book, Zhang Xuan is taken aback. After merging with the memories of the previous owner of the body, he knows that in this world, bloodline in one's innate body is very important. As long as one possesses either one of the two along with a suitable method to utilize it, their cultivation will soar by leaps and bounds in the future, causing their strength to increase exponentially. There are many types of innate bodies such as pure yin body, pure yang body, immaculate body, golden body. There are also many types of bloodlines such as ancient bloodlines, new bloodlines, inheritances and mutations. Once found, every single one of them would become a target competed over by countless teachers. The emperor bloodline which the fatty possesses is one of the ancient bloodlines. It is said that when those who possess such bloodline reach the peak of their cultivation, their body would be impenetrable, no objects in the world would be able to break through their defenses. It is one of the most powerful bloodlines among defense-based bloodlines. This inconspicuous, fat and shameless fellow would actually possess an ancient bloodline. His ancient bloodline has yet to be activated. From the looks of it, this fellow doesn't seem to be aware of it as well. A glint flashes through Zhang Xuan's eyes. Of all types of bloodlines, ancient bloodlines are quite powerful. For this fellow to not be accepted after visiting a dozen of teachers, it doesn't mean that they are unable to recognize such a bloodline. Rather, his bloodline has yet to be activated, causing him to be just like any other normal people. Not mentioning how other people aren't able to discern his bloodline, probably even he himself doesn't know about it. However, even if he doesn't know, he does have the potential in this aspect. His defensive abilities are much stronger than the others, and that's the reason why he chose to train in this kind of punchbag martial arts. I must accept this fellow under my tutelage. His eyes twinkle. The entire academy might not even witness a single student possessing ancient bloodline throughout a course of multiple years. For such a good bud to appear before him, how can he possibly allow him to escape? Not bad. I will accept you as my student. Come, acknowledge me as your teacher. Zhang Xuan suppresses the jubilation in his heart and throws an identity token over to him with a calm face. Teacher, are you really going to accept me? This is great. The fatty seems to have taken quite a few mental blows throughout the day. Upon hearing that a teacher is willing to accept him, he is so excited that he cuts his finger without second thoughts and squeezes a blood droplet on it. It seems that the standard of the teacher determines the standard of the students he would accept. When the teacher is trash, the student would also be trash. At this moment, a cold scorn sounds out. Turning around, Zhang Xuan sees a cold and arrogant young man walking over. There is a beautiful lady walking beside the young man. Her pitch black silky hair flows down her shoulders, her pale skin has a creamy texture to it and her eyes captivate the gaze of those looking into it. Shang Bin, Shen Bai Ru. Upon seeing the two of them, two names immediately float into his head. In the entire academy, there are probably no one who would be unaware of Shen Bai Ru. She doesn't have any unique background, but she is publicly acknowledged as a beautiful teacher. Even the school bell would pale in comparison when compared to her. It wouldn't have meant anything if she was all looks. The crux of it is that she is skilled in teaching as well. Despite being in this academy for less than a year, she has already become one of the most famous teachers in the academy. Noble, elegant, beautiful and intelligent, she attracts the frenzied pursuit of quite a few teachers. Zhang Xuan's previous self is also one of her pursuers. However, the previous Zhang Xuan was too much of a failure. Not mentioning his weak cultivation, he is also the last in all kinds of examinations. Due to his low self-esteem, even though he is interested in her, he has never talked to the goddess of his heart, needless to say, court her. This young man is called Shang Bin and he is the grandson of the academy's elder Shang. He is also one of her pursuers and he has used his identity to suppress the other pursuers. He seems to have received word from some source that Zhang Xuan is also interested in Shen Bai Ru, prompting him to insult him whenever they meet, sometimes even resorting to physical violence. However, Shen Bairu doesn't seem to be interested in him. All along, she has been cold to everyone, as though she isn't interested in anyone else, leaving Shang Bin distressed and helpless. Who are you insulting as trash? Hearing Shang Bin's unrestrained sarcasm, Zhang Xuan doesn't get angry and turns around to look over. Trash is insulting to you. Shang Bin smiles contemptuously. Oh, so, trash is insulting to me. So smelly, so smelly. Zhang Xuan waves his hand in front of his nose, putting on a disgusted expression. You, only now does Shang Bin reacts. Being made fun of by the worst teacher in the academy, his face turns red. If you find any errors, please let us know in the comments below so we can fix it as soon as possible. Also, like and subscribe to our channel to get notified of the latest chapter release.